Marianne, Ralph, what's up, guys? Don't mind me while we wait for other people to come on. Christine, what's up? Yeah, I could. I couldn't tell, Marianne. Don't mind me, guys. I'm drinking some whiskey while we wait for a few more people to join us. Hey, Rachel. Oh, what's up, James? Oh, I'm fancy. I'm on the big screen. All right, cool. Thank you. That's a big ass head on the TV, though. Christine, James, I know you guys weren't able to pick up the wines in time, so I hope you grab whatever you have available and poured yourself a glass so we can still drink and enjoy together. All right, I'll probably just give it a couple minutes and see if we can get a few more people on, and then we will go from there. For sure. You can always rewatch it. So I'm trying a little bit of a different video setup this time, so I'm not like turning my head so far to look between Instagram and Facebook. So hopefully this works a little bit better for everyone. So we're not looking at the side of my head. And then also you'll notice that I'm not in my garage this time. It is way too damn hot to be out in the garage. So I have locked my family in the dungeon. Uh, and by dungeon, I mean a bedroom where hopefully we can get 20-ish minutes without them being psycho squirrels in the background. All right, I'll tell you what. I don't want to keep you guys waiting because it's been like 3 minutes since I've gone on. So I'll go ahead and start talking, and then if people join, they join. And if they watch it later, they watch it later. So if you have the Pinot Gris, which is by Eugene Meyer, boom. If you guys have that, pour yourself a glass and start enjoying because, as you know, that I am a big fan of making sure that you have something in your glass at all times. And if you've hung out with me in person or at my house, you know that very, very well. So, sorry, Ralph. Um, so, yeah, the Pinot Gris. Let's talk about Domaine Eugene Meyer first. So, Domaine Eugene Meyer is kind of cool. It has been around forever. Both of these wines, by the way, are wines that have been my favorites over time. I've had them at the kitchen over the years, multiple times from vintage to vintage, and they both kind of withstood the test of time, if you will, for me personally. So, um, so yeah, the first one, Domaine Eugene Meyer, is really cool. It's kind of a unique story. Domaine Eugene Meyer, or Eugene Meyer, I should say, as a host or as a winemaker, originally did not want to, or didn't really have like so much interest into making his wines what's known as biodynamic. Is everyone familiar with biodynamic wines? I'm gonna wait. We'll see. Is anyone familiar with biodynamic wines and what that means? Because it's kind of what I want to talk about a little bit. I'm gonna assume no, because I'm gonna go for it. All right. Biodynamic wines. What is biodynamic wines? So there's organic wines, right, uh, where you are not allowed to use herbicides, pesticides, or chemical fertilizers, right? That makes a wine organic. And then There's biodynamic, which is like a whole different level of weird. It takes organic wines and it's like a huge extension of it, right? And okay, cool, Rachel. I'm glad to hear that you know a little bit about them. It's a huge extension of organic wines. So not only all of those things that I just mentioned about organic wines, biodynamic wines is a set of rules that you have to follow. It was created by a guy named Rudolf Steiner back in the early 1900s, and basically Rudolf Steiner, he was a bit of a, he was into like anthroprophacy, right? So it's an interesting take on agriculture where science meets spirituality. And so the whole vineyard that you're managing, right? It's looked at as like one big living organism. So if one part of the vineyard is not thriving, it means that affects every other aspect of that vineyard, right? So they look at it as like this big living thing. So what's unique about it as well is like, what does that mean exactly? So things that they have to do. Rudolf Steiner wrote a list of things that vineyards have to do in order to kind of abide by this science slash spiritual approach to managing these vineyards. And a few of those things are really weird and really kind of out there, and they include things um, like making tea from common horsetail and spraying that either on your vines or in the soil of your vineyard. It also involves like putting cow manure into a cow's horn and then burying that at one end of the vineyard, right? A specific location in your vineyard, uncovering it after so many months, making a tea out of that, right? And then spraying that over the vineyards and the soil of said vineyard. So a lot of this weird stuff. The other things that it includes is like harvesting your grapes according to like the lunar cycle, right? And that's another like just bizarre random thing that is a list of the full 9 items. There's 9 things that you have to do in order to be considered biodynamic. There's a certification process that you have to go through to get this certification. It's run by an organization known as Demeter, which incidentally is the Greek goddess of agriculture. So it's a very fitting name, right? To be certified. Now, why would you go through this certification, right? Here's the thing, right? The thing is that a lot of biodynamic wines have a tendency to be very, very delicious. Um, and you can chalk that up to it does sound kind of like witchcraft. It kind of is. I don't want to tell you that it's one thing or another, right? But it's kind of like, biodynamic growing is interesting. It's different. But the end result, though, is that in general, a lot of biodynamic wines are delicious. Now, you can chalk that up to all of the crazy methods that they're doing, right? The harvesting according to the lunar cycle, spraying common horsetail tea over your soil and vines. You can chalk it up to that, or you can chalk it up to um, this is what they're paying a lot more attention to their vineyard, and it's a part of the certification process. You have to pay attention to everything that's happening in your vineyards, and the end result tends to be that these wines are incredible. Um, a ton of a ton of reputable wines do biodynamic farming and are biodynamic certified. You can find a little Demeter stamp on the back labels of most wines that have been biodynamically certified. Um, so wineries that do it, like one of the most prestigious wineries in the world, Domaine de la Romane Conti, Domaine Zindumbrecht does it. Robert Sinsky, as a winemaker, produces a lot of his wines in a biodynamic way. Joseph Phillips has some biodynamic practices that they use as well. So call it witchcraft, call it what you want. The end result is the wines are really good. So going back to Eugene Meyer as a producer. Their family has been growing grapes in the Alsace region, which if you're not familiar with where Alsace is in France, It is the easternmost region within France. It shares a border with Germany, right? As a matter of fact, Alsace as a region has changed hands between Germany and France many times throughout history. And as a result, if you ever go to visit Alsace, it's really interesting. The culture is very kind of split, right? There's a lot of German people, there's a lot of French people, and the culture is very different and unique to that area. So family has been growing there since the 1600s. Eugene Meyer in 1969 converted the winery over to a biodynamic vineyard. And the reason why he actually did that, and I didn't know this until recently, I've been drinking this wine for years. The reason that he did that is because he was suffering from paralysis of his optic nerve. And he realized after, I don't know how long of trying other treatment options, he realized that if he was he was trying to move away from, uh, from the use of chemicals and things in his personal life, right? Like in his home. And then that just translated into the vineyard. And so he kind of started to reduce the amount of chemical fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides that he was using in his vineyard. And lo and behold, his optic nerve paralysis started to get better. And then so in an effort to just completely move away from all of it, he decided that he was just going to convert the entire vineyard over to biodynamic purposes. So it was really cool how he decided to make the vineyard biodynamic. This particular wine, this Pinot Gris, let's talk about Pinot Gris versus Pinot Grigio. Same grape. Only difference, and there's pretty big difference, right? Pinot Gris tends to come from the rest of the world. Pinot Grigio is grown specifically, they refer to it as Pinot Grigio in Italy. So it's kind of like Syrah, which the rest of the world calls Syrah, versus Australians who refer to Syrah as Shiraz. Why do they do it? I don't know. But there you go. There's really no difference. Same grape. Stylistically, there is a massive difference between Italian Pinot Grigio and Pinot Gris that you're going to find from a lot of the rest of the world. For example, this Pinot Gris, which comes from Alsace, right? You can see it there. This Pinot Gris is one of the most beautiful white wines I think that I've come across in my time as a wine consumer and as somebody who is curating a program. It's beautiful on the nose. If you guys want to go, if you guys haven't started drinking it, please start drinking it. So on the nose, it has a ton of like clementine and honeysuckle, and it is what really shines for me about this wine is the palate. I just can't even it is so rich with flavor and tropical fruit flavors like pineapple and lychee. It has this nice like spice quality to it, right? That's really very like underlying. Um, and it's really bold as opposed to a lot of Pinot Gris or Pinot Grigio that you guys may be familiar with due to the commonality of having it on every wine list ever, right? Um, you'll see that like this wine, once you try it, has so much more to offer, and it still has like flavors that are just unfolding in my mouth. Um, and why I love it so much and why it's been a thing is just has so much to offer. It's a little bit bolder. You can pair it with like simple things, right? Like obviously fish is a great go-to, but shellfish especially. This particular Pinot Gris, you can go with some poultry. I would even venture to guess that like if I had this with a like a lamb shank or lamb chops, James, do not go to Morton's right now for lamb chops, okay? Um, but I would venture to guess that this wine would pair really well with something like even like lamb chops. If you were wanting a white wine that was refreshing, that would pair both ways, right? This would probably be a great option. And I hope you guys, if you have it, I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as I am. I think it's absolutely stunning wine. For those of you guys who weren't able to pick up the wine, what are you drinking? I'm just curious. Slide into the comments and let me know what you are drinking. Hey, Chrissy Poo. Sorry, Christine. Every time I mention Morton's, it's pretty much like a direct pass. It means that James is on his way to Morton's. It is hot, Natu. I see you. It's very, very hot, so I totally understand. Greg, thanks for jumping in. Oh, okay, I see you. Cool. Little black stallion. All right. Great call, Thomas. If you guys aren't seeing it in the comment, he said Alsatian dishes, salted pork sausages with cabbage. The acidity cuts through the fat. Um, yeah, great call. Definitely, right? Like any kind of like cream sauces too, like just in general. This Pinot Gris has that like nice backbone of acidity that's gonna cut through the richness. You'll hear me say that a lot about a lot of wines, right? When they have really good acidity, they tend to pair incredibly well with wines or with food. I love that stuff. All right, if you guys have the Pinot Noir, feel free to pour that for yourselves now, and I'll talk a little bit about that. Oh, some of the things that I didn't talk about. The Pinot Gris. It's all stainless steel. They use thermo stainless steel containers to like control the temperature for the fermentation. Um, Consistently from vintage to vintage, I have been so impressed by that wine. So if you guys are looking for a great summertime wine, that's a great alternative to all the other. Everybody thinks of like cold Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc. Pinot Gris is not one that like normally pops up on people's radars. Like this is something that I need to have, especially Alsatian Pinot Gris. Good Bottle. Shout out to Good Bottle. Thank you for partnering with us on this. Um, it does carry the Eugene Meyer, so if you're looking for a great summertime sipper, go to Good Bottle. It's located in downtown. The hours are a little tight right now. I know that. So sorry to anyone who's tried to go and wasn't able to grab their wines. It's all this madness, man. It's closures. There's stuff happening in downtown. A lot of places are boarded up. So they're trying to, be smart with their hours and just protect their people. So it's not like they're not going to be there and not going to be open. They're just trying to make sure that everything is cool. So, so yeah, they will have the wine. Go pick it up. I think it's beautiful. It will not disappoint. It's one of those wines that I will just tell you flat out, go get it, go drink it. You'll be happy you did. Unlike most wines that are biodynamically produced, this wine technically, I think, right, from what I read, they do spontaneous fermentation on. And technically, I think it is a natural wine. And it's one of the few natural wines that I will get behind. I don't think that they advertise it as a natural wine, but it is stunning, and I think they make good juice. So yeah, go pick that up. They delivered the wine right to you. Oh, that's awesome, Marianne. They are awesome. Good Bottle is fantastic. They're good people. I'm super happy to be working with them, and yeah, so I'm glad that they were able to take care of you. All right, if you have the Pinot Noir. Maysara 3 Degrees Pinot Noir. Go ahead and pour yourself a glass of that. I'm a fan of Maysara. I've carried it again. This is a wine that I've carried at the kitchen for a few years. I'm a fan of this Pinot Noir because I think it's kind of like classic Willamette Valley. This particular wine comes from McMinnville, which is a sub-AVA of Willamette Valley, right, up in Oregon. And what you'll find about this wine, go ahead and try it. I'm gonna drink some first, and then I'll tell you what I think I love about it. So on the nose, there's a lot of strawberry and cherry, maybe just a hint of vanilla. Yeah, Thomas. Sorry, going back real quick. Thomas just said it is very rudimentary filtering plus native fermentation and minimal sulfites. That's pretty damn natural, right? Again, I'm not like a proponent. I'm not a huge like fan of natural wines, um, but this particular one happens to be natural, and I just think is incredibly well done. So, and that's in reference to the Pinot Gris that we just tried. The Pinot Noir also is biodynamically farmed. I don't want to say it's natural because I don't know the process by which they are. I don't know if they're inoculating, and Thomas might be able to chime in here and let me know. I don't know if they're inoculating fermentation or if it's naturally occurring. However, it is made by the Mumtazi sisters, so it's called 3 degrees, right? That might confuse anybody who's looking at the label. You're like, why does it say 3 degrees? The 3 degrees is in reference to the three Mumtazi sisters who own and manage and farm the vineyards. Um, it's supposed to be a reflection of like their personalities, right? They have three very different personalities, but they're all coming to the table with a different aspect that they contribute to the vineyard. It is also biodynamically farmed. Mumtazi Vineyard is one of the few vineyards that I was introduced to via this winery by Maysara, and then eventually I ended up selling Portlandia, which makes a Mumtazi Vineyard Pinot, which they source from the Mumtazi sisters. Um, so that's fun and cool right there. This spends about 12 months in oak before they bottle it, and getting to the thing that I like about it on the palate, which you guys will see if you have the bottle. So you get a lot of that like cherry note on the front of the palate, but as it sits on your tongue, what you're gonna find is it kind of turns to like it's like forest floor earthiness, which I know sounds really weird, and a lot of people used to look at me funny when I use that as a descriptor. But it's kind of like you're walking through the forest on like a slightly rainy day, and you picked up like a handful of mud and leaves and just ate it, and it's like not. And this is gonna be even weirder in like a very good way. It tastes delicious. Um, so yeah, uh, I like this wine because I think it's classic for Willamette Valley in that you get this nice fruit up front, and then as the wine sits and it lingers on your palate, you get this very nice earthy undertone to the wine. So things that'll pair well with this, right? I think I mentioned this last time with the Pinot Noir that we tasted last time. Things like chicken, duck breast would be great with this. Things that come from the earth like mushroom, truffles would be great with this. And it's very well rounded and very delicious. It has a nice balance to it. There's no aspect of this wine that I feel like is outweighing the other, right? It all just comes together really beautifully, and that's what you're looking for when you're tasting any kind of wine, right? First and foremost, does it taste good, and then is it balanced? Like, is anything out of whack? Maysara consistently over the vintages has been very balanced and very delicious, and I'm excited to put something in front of you that the Mumtazi sisters partner on and do all that weird geeky biodynamic farming that I got to talk about a little bit ago. If you missed the biodynamic stuff, when I am done, please go back and watch it because they do some really wonky stuff to become Demeter certified to make their wines biodynamically. I won't go into it again because it's all very odd and very unusual. So yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying this as much as I am. I saw that Christine, you're enjoying some Talbot Chardonnay for now. And then Thomas, I saw that you're drinking some Riesling. I hope it's delicious and refreshing. It got crazy hot today, like crazy hot. I took my daughter to swim, and by the time I got home, oh Rachel, I'm glad that you like it. Um, oh, Aunt Nora, I see you, girl. Hang on. Okay, the first one was Eugene Meyer Pinot Gris. You can buy it from Good Bottle in downtown. Go visit them. Make sure you check their hours before you go. But go visit them. They carry it. They also carry the Pinot Noir, which is Maysara 3 Degrees Pinot Noir from McMinnville up in Oregon. So yeah, the best pairing for Pinot Grigio is Pinot Grigio or Sauvignon Blanc. Pinot Grigio or Sauvignon Blanc. Got you. Oh, thanks, Taka. I appreciate that. And thanks for tuning in. Um, so those are the two wines that we were tasting today. And I know some of you guys, again, I know you guys tuned in a little later than the start time. Totally cool. I'm going to end the live here in just a minute. But check back in and check back on the video because you get to, I talk a little bit about biodynamic winemaking. Oh, real quick, let me just touch on this. Okay, so there's organic winemaking, right? What's the difference between organic, biodynamic, and natural, right? So organic wines, right? We talked about a little bit. Say it again. We were just walking around your garden and stared at and hit your plants, Nelson. Basically, that Thomas, yes, that is to your point, right? When you are going through biodynamic certification, right, and you're actually farming your vineyards biodynamically, the end result is that you have to pay attention to what's happening in your vineyard. If you're paying attention to what's happening in your vineyard and you're addressing issues that pop up as they pop up, you're going to be ahead of everything. So you're constantly managing. End result is that your grapes are going to be a lot healthier, a lot more fruit forward, right? A lot more balanced, I should say, even, right? Maybe not even fruit forward, a lot more balanced. And then the end result is that turns into really, really good wine. So yeah, so going back, organic versus biodynamic versus natural. Organic wines there's no use of herbicides, pesticides, chemical fertilizers, right? You're not allowed to add sulfites to your wine, right? So yeah, that's organic in a nutshell. Biodynamic is all of these other things that are an extension of organic wine growing or wine farming, and that is to do these oddball things. And I'll name a couple. I won't go into it again. Is to do these oddball things like making common horsetail tea, spraying it over your vineyards, right? You're allowed to only grow like 7 crop coverings, right? There's specific things that you're allowed to grow in conjunction with, and you have to grow in order to get the certification. You turn those into tea and you spray those over the vineyard. You have to take a cow's horn and fill it with manure and bury that in a specific location in your vineyard. And then you uncover it, and then you turn that manure into a tea, and then you spray that over your vineyard on the vines and on the soil, right? And then you have to harvest according to like the lunar cycle. There's all kinds of stuff that go into the biodynamic winemaking world, right? So organic, biodynamic, and then there's natural, which is very much so a new category, and it's not even like a regulated category because there's no. Like, you can't put like natural wine on your label, right? How do you know if it's natural or not? You usually have to ask somebody who knows at the shop that you're at whether or not it's natural. Natural wine basically means like no intervention wine. There's low intervention wine, and then there's no intervention wine, where they basically just let the grapes do their thing in the cellar. They don't filter it. There's no, it's basically just like, they're basically just taking the wine from the barrel or the tank and putting it right into the bottle. That's what you get. There's a lot of it's like a gamble with natural wines. I feel like I've had a couple over the years, and I'm kind of like, that's kind of cool. It's unique. I can mess with that. More often than not, I feel like natural wines haven't really been a hit for me. A lot of them tend to be really yeasty. Meaning when you taste it, it's like too like toasty, brioche for my particular taste. But doesn't mean that you can't find the gems, right? Example, huge gem and consistent. So yeah. So that's my take on this Pinot Gris and this Pinot Noir. And I hope you guys, if you did not pick it up, I hope you guys are able to go pick it up still and enjoy the wines. The Pinot Gris is great for summertime. The Pinot Noir, put a slight chill on it and enjoy that, because I think that delivers too. And I think they both are great for the summertime, right? We're all looking for something to cool off a little bit, and the answer can always be Chardonnay and Sauvignon Blanc. So I'll keep some more coming for you guys on the next tasting in terms of wines that are just good to drink on these miserable 100-degree days when we don't want to be outside, or if we are outside on the back patio in the evening and you're looking for something good to drink, we can do that too. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. We'll do this again in 2 weeks on Wednesday. I will. Oh, thanks, baby. I'm glad you're enjoying the Pinot Gris in the room with the kids. Thanks for tucking them away so I didn't have to be in the garage. I hope that you guys enjoyed. Yeah, absolutely. And Noir, you're very welcome. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. We'll partner up with someone else. We'll do this again. And I love you guys. I appreciate you. I hope you guys. Hope everyone is doing well and staying sane. All right. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.